Nobody wants to see violence. Nobody wants to see chaos.
It's my privilege to present our nation's highest civilian honor to some just incredible people.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And standing here with my president.
What do you say to people who think you guys should have postponed it or declined it altogether?
We sit down with Annika Sorenstam in a moment, but we start in Washington with never-before-seen footage from the Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony. President Donald Trump awarded the honor to Sorenstam and Player and posthumously to Babe Zaharias the morning after the deadly U.S. Capitol riots.
It's my privilege to present our nation's highest civilian honor to some just incredible people. The Presidential Medal of Freedom. Annika, you made your country proud. You made all of us proud.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to say thank you for all you have done in the service to our country. Particularly during the coronavirus crisis. I know it's been very tough and challenging, but many congratulations on rollout of the vaccine in warp speed.
Player, I know him well for a long time, right? A long time. And I just want to congratulate a friend of mine, a real friend of mine. He's just a great gentleman. He's a great man.
Mr. President, I stand in this room with you, sir, and all these wonderful guests in this wonderful White House, which has helped change the world for the better.
The Medal of Freedom ceremony on January 7th, 2021 seemed like any other day, at least inside the White House.
Gary earned the title Mr. Fitness. He just told me, he said, "Sir, lose a couple of pounds." I said, "Okay, Gary." He said it in front of Annika. That was very rude, don't you? How rude can you be?
The afternoon prior, chaos reigned as rioters breached the U.S. Capitol, incited by remarks from President Trump, who repeated his false claims his failed 2020 re-election was stolen.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong.
5 people died and more than 100 were injured. The mob threatened the lives of both Democrats and Republicans, including Vice President Mike Pence.
We're being instructed to each of us get a gas mask.
I had a very close encounter where I thought I was going to die.
The Medal of Freedom ceremony was originally scheduled for March 2020, but delayed due to COVID-19. We were the only press allowed to attend, and we spoke with Sorenstam, her husband Mike, and Player following the ceremony.
How strange is it being here today after yesterday?
You know, I think we're all just very sad to see. Nobody wants to see violence. Nobody wants to see chaos. And so it's just, I think it's a tragedy. But I'm hoping for a better day. You know, we woke up this morning and it was quiet. It was, the streets were empty and this was planned and here we are.
We respect the office of the president, no matter who's in office. She was going to accept the award always, no matter who it was from. And things happened the way they did. We were en route here. We had no idea what was going on. We started corresponding, seeing some stuff, on social media, and it was crazy. But I mean, everybody, our guests were already here. We were already en route, and it happened. It was a shame. It was an awful day in our history, and no one would say otherwise. And I actually feel a little bit badly for her and Gary and Babe with the timing, because it's not what they asked for. It's not like they said, "Hey, let's do it this morning." I mean, this was planned 9 months ago.
There's so many people today that criticize. They criticize you because you have a splinter in your eye and they have a log in theirs. So we're living in very strange times at the moment. But this is an honor bestowed upon me by the #1 man in the world, the President of the United States. And sometimes it takes somebody who doesn't live here to appreciate this country more. Having traveled more miles than any human being that's ever lived, and seen the racism, the communism, the different forms of government and how people have lived. This is when you're in dictatorships. That's where you learn. You actually learn from that, from your mistakes. Just how freedom is such a cherished thing, that so many people died. Do the young people today understand that freedom is not a gift?
Player's estranged son blasted his father on Twitter, with other national outlets also criticizing the golfers for accepting their medals. The following week, New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick turned down the honor. Meanwhile, Donald Trump became the first U.S. president to be impeached twice.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
Gary Player declined to update his comments for this episode. However, Annika Sorenstam addressed the fallout more than a month later when we sat down at her Orlando home for a visit already scheduled before the riots.
One of your greatest strengths, you said before, is the ability to just never, second guess. In the weeks since the ceremony, has that strength been put to the test for you?
I would say, quite a bit. I've spent some time thinking about it because obviously the exception or the acknowledgement has been very mixed. I've received quite a bit of positive feedback from friends and family, but then there have been some, not so positive, and I've heard those and I've listened to those.
What did you hear in terms of the critics?
I'm going to be honest, I haven't been on social media since then. The other things that I've heard, the negativity is not necessarily, my achievements, but, the timing.
It bothered me most because someone I love was getting, vilified by some for receiving our nation's highest civilian honor. And that bothered me.
It was awful what happened at the Capitol. I mean, you were there. When we were there, actually when we arrived, it was cleared.
Right.
But what happened, I do not agree with violence. I do not think that type of behavior is acceptable. And I certainly know, and we all know, that type of actions don't solve problems. And so, I am sad about, January 6th in American history with a lot of people. So, I share the sadness, absolutely.
What do you say to people who think you guys should have postponed it or declined it altogether?
I understand. I totally understand. I get it. And she understands too.
Here we are, a month later?
Yeah.
And, I don't look back. I'm focusing on the future. I look at this award and I'm part of a group that made the world a better place.
There was a moment in your speech where you thanked the president for his service to the country, and it was interrupted by a standing round of applause. It seemed like you were very uncomfortable.
I don't have a lot of experience, being around presidents, And so, I think everybody knows that growing up, I was very shy. I always wanted to take the trophy and run. I always wanted to do that, and that's, hasn't changed.
Hindsight's obviously 2020. Would you do anything differently from that experience?
I think that, putting energy on things that I can't really control is not been my thing, and it's time to move on. Second guessing is just, I just don't, it's just not part of my nature.
How did you explain the controversy surrounding it to your kids?
I think what we have said is, people have different opinions. This country is divided, and we have to listen to everybody. To our children, Ava and Will, you are my biggest trophies. We love you so much, and we're so proud of you. And I'm so glad that you can be here today. I knew I would stumble on this one. Last but not least, my wonderful husband, Mike. You're my rock and pillar. My life is so much better and fun with you in it. You have encouraged me to find peace and strength in who I am. You helped me to pursue my interest in work, and you're an amazing, loving dad. I think we make a great team, and it warms my heart to see you, how proud you are, and I love you too. Let me assure you, this is the greatest honor I've ever received. But my dreams aren't complete here today. We will continue to inspire the next generation.